I'm Debbie Birch, and I'm with the Queen Anne's County Office of Tourism, and we're here today to talk about event, or it's something that happens every couple months. It's at the Churchill Theater. They have different productions up there, and they have one that'll be coming up in April, and it's called Good People. And I have Mike Whitehill here, and I also have Caitlin Conley. And you're going to tell us a little bit about it. I was reading about this play, and I was just chuckling reading some of the lead into it. So welcome, and tell us a little bit about it.
Well, one of the things that attracted me to this play, and I think is going to, I hope, attract a large audience, is that it takes place in a very insular neighborhood in South Boston. And yet, when I read the play before I decided to kind of take it on as a director and a producer, it really grabbed me. There was a kind of truth in the individual characters, and I quickly found the passion to bring this play alive for the audience, but I couldn't understand why. I couldn't understand why these characters affected me so deeply. So in the research up to the play, I did find a quote that was written by the author, which I thought I'd just throw out there so you guys could understand how he felt about it. And that is this: we have this myth that if you work hard, you can accomplish anything. It's not a very American thing to say, but I don't think that's true. It's true for a lot of people, but you need other things to succeed. You need luck, you need opportunity, and you need the life skills to recognize what an opportunity is.
Oh, wow.
And the reason he brought that up was because some people can escape their neighborhoods, go on, and yet there's something ineluctable that drags us back into those neighborhoods. The Eastern Shore is very, very similar to this kind of thing, and I think that we're like salmon, you know, we tend to want to come back to the stream.
Yep.
and so, and as much as that, we all often curse the Eastern Shore for having no entertainment and you can't buy anything and for whatever else.
But that's why we're here.
We leave, and for some reason or other, we come back. And what I'm working with this show and with Caitlin's help is to depict this South Boston neighborhood in a very true sense, because you'll be able to smell the food. You know, you'll be able to hear the sounds and the mood of the good people in that idiomatic phrase, Debbie is good people. And what I wanted to do was to recall those things, for everyone in the audience to recall the things that pushed you away from the Eastern Shore, and then acknowledge the things that are pulling you back.
Right back.
Okay?
Okay.
So it can work for community anywhere. We had such great luck when I held the auditions for this show that Caitlin, for a great deal of different reasons, decided to go ahead and audition for the play. And yet, because of the age of the characters, wasn't possible to use her until we found out that she lived as a child about 2 blocks from the house where the heroine of this play actually lives. So she has the South Boston location. She has the South Boston dialect, and she's also a professional acting teacher.
Okay.
So I was able to bring her on board because a lot of our actors are rookies. We want to encourage people to come out and audition, even if you've never been on stage before. You know this, I keep saying that all the time. Just come out and audition, because you never know. And we don't go around calling all of our favorite buddies. Whoever shows up and has the nerve to take the stage in an audition has the right to take the part if we can help them realize that. With Caitlin here, we have a couple of rookies in our cast that are going to be working with her to not only make their experience at Churchill Theater more enjoyable, but also make their character, actualize their character.
Well,
in a
and
really meaningful
that's
way.
huge, though, that you have this opportunity to work to have someone work with these people. Like you said, anybody can come out and audition, and you never know. You know, how they might fit.
And because we're a community theater, and because we really believe in the community part of the community theater, we don't do ourselves any favors by pretending we're semi-pro and then bringing all our divas in and whatever, you know. And I think that's the real beauty of this. So you know, Caitlin, this is so perfect because Caitlin escaped. Maybe you can tell a little bit of the story about.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I'm waiting to hear if there's an accent there.
Yeah, and share your Southie dialect as well. Yeah.
You're putting you on the spot.
Well, I do. People always say that to me. Well, you're from Boston, but you don't sound like you're from Boston. And I'm from. Yeah, I'm from
I don't know. I'm hearing a Boston.
Yeah.
I did go to school for theater, so they tried to get that out of me a little bit. But yeah, I left Boston. My whole family's still in Boston. I'm the only one that lives out here, but I spent a couple years in DC, and I grew up in the city, and then I've always lived in cities, and I actually came out to the Eastern Shore on tour with Maryland Shakespeare Company.
Oh, okay.
And we did a performance out here, and I fell in love with it. I love the people. It reminded me a lot of home, which is something that we just talked about.
Right.
The universal theme of this play is small town people, whether you're in a big city or in a small town, that neighborhood type of feel you can find anywhere. And it really spoke to me. I loved the quietness, and I loved the appreciation for the arts here is huge.
People don't realize there is a arts following on the Eastern Shore, and it's exploding. It really is.
So yeah, I felt like this was a place where I could still perform and still be a part of theater and not have to do it in a major market somewhere. So that's really how I ended up here, and I live in Easton, and I love it. I get to do this. It's great.
She probably didn't expect to get the call not to be a performer, but to help with training our other actors.
Act. Yeah. Well, you're not Kaz, but you come teach us how to do the acting.
And so the story itself, evolves where a middle-aged woman loses her job at the dollar store. Right, and then she ends up having to struggle because it's paycheck to paycheck, and actually this week's paychecks is for last month's bills.
Right.
So there's always operating a little bit behind the curve, and she was one of those who may or may not have missed that element of luck, that one little moment or that opportunity to get away. And I think we all, when we look back on our own lives, we say, if I'd have just, if that girl hadn't winked at me.
Right.
I wouldn't have married her, which kept me from getting on the bus to join the army or
hindsight,
whatever.
Right?
No, but those little moments, and if we don't always take time to look back, at our lives to see how that happened. We're going to play this out in front of you at Churchill. You're going to see this kind of hard scrabble struggle that the characters in this play, who are wonderfully humorous, but they're not. It's funny. They're not funny outside of off the stage, on the stage. They're funny off the stage in the audience to you. So there's a mix of there's own little tragedy in it, but it's not a dismal or dim play because there's a lot of hope and a lot of courage.
Right.
That just goes to making good people. Just.
I love you keep and the title just flows right into that.
Yeah, it does. It does
like,
exactly, and that's kind of Lindsay Abaire was bemoaning the fact that there are very few plays about class in modern American theater, and it's really true. And this really hit home with me, and he just couldn't get it out of his head that the lack of American plays about class. So there is a class structure. You do need a little more than just working hard and playing by the rules. You can work hard, play by the rules, and always stay where you are, or tread water, or do the best you can to stay even with the current. But a lot of times it takes something else, and it's interesting because you're going to see in this play that little something else. Sometimes that one little thing, and you can look back on it and say, if I'd have just done this, or boy, am I glad I did that. And I think that's where the fun in that play is, and I think that also speaks to this Eastern Shore. I will always come back to the Eastern Shore from wherever I may be with gratitude. And as soon as I land on this side of the Chesapeake Bay Bridge, a huge sigh of relief, and I'm home. I'm home, but I'm not home. I'm home because I am where I am with good people. I'm with the people that I trust. I'm with the people that I communicate with. And you really know this from your neighborhood connections, your family and, the stuff like that. And talk a little bit about working with the cast, because I think that's going to be an interesting process.
I think that's, like I said, that's such an extra bonus for the actors that you have to have that opportunity.
Yeah, well, I have to tell you, Mike really put together a great cast. They are perfect, and that's the first thing I said to her last night or the other night at rehearsal. I said, well, you got one thing going for you right off the bat is you look great for this role. You guys look awesome. You understand the characters already because you're already from a small neighborhood.
Right.
You already, you know, so they already have that, which is amazing, and they already have, you know, raw talent, so that's been really great too. But a funny thing from the other day at rehearsal was I said, God, you guys are so polite to each other here.
Ah, good. Tell Debbie a little bit about this. This is really funny.
I was watching the scene and I thought, wow, they're all doing a great job. This is cool. There's a couple of dialect things we can work on, but they're just being way too nice to each other. We're a little grittier in Boston, you know.
Right.
Where it's a little colder, we're a little harsher, and we don't totally care for everybody's feelings all the time.
Right,
you
right.
know? So that was
That's a
something
nice way to put it.
Yeah, that was probably the first thing we started working on was just kind of how everybody communicates with each other, and having that still be full of love, but maybe coming off a little bit more gritty, I think is the word for it. So that's something we're working on.
We're working on, and it's really hard to drill that out of actors who have always been ingrained to waiting for somebody to finish a line or something.
Right.
You cut off all the time, you know, and cut off in a lovingly vicious way.
I'm sitting here thinking about my family and how we are when we're all together, and it's and you're right. It's that, you know, where you're not so polite and, you know, but you're not mean.
Yeah, unless you want to be mean.
Right,
you can be
there you go.
mean, you know, exactly.
Yeah.
So that fire, that was the first thing she brought up, and everybody, all the cast looked down at that and said, "Huh? We're too nice." You know? And all she simply did was take a line that was in that play and read it from South Boston, and the difference. You could really pick up the difference in the phrasing of the lines. So as an acting coach, which she's going to be working with these actors, she'll be pulling those little nuances in the context of the dialect. Be pulling those little nuances out for the actor, as well as looking at some movement, you know, sort of comfort on stage and naturalizing their character and helping each actor find a way of going that's individual to that character, because none of them are the same. They all have different, totally different idiosyncrasies. Right. But it's like in the breakfast scene, or you know, at Margie's house, these three women are sitting around, you know, shooting the bull. And it's so perfectly, almost rhythmic about the way the beautifully written play, and you could probably speak to that as well. But the play is so beautifully written that as we start rehearsing the dialogue, all the chop comes out of it, and it becomes much more of a round table, constantly moving and evolving discussion than a sentence and an answer. Becomes an experience at the dining table. Yeah, it's real life.
It's real life.
And it's sometimes harder to make the real life stuff than to elevate it to some sort of level of sophistication that really isn't there. But I think if you do that, you lose the context of good people. You know, why is it that these characters like one another, or that they have been friends for life? Without ever, banging constantly into one another. You know, it's kind of strange, and yet they're dear friends.
They play off each other.
Exactly. And I think supportingly, as you look around to your poker pals, or you look around to your book clubs, or whatever you're in, you know, there's always somebody in your orbit that is that complements what you don't have. Right. You know, the difference between Jean and Margie.
Yeah, absolutely. Some people are a little bit more harsh than others, and playful and naive, and but they're all really smart characters. I said that to Mike the other day. So, you know, when you add in the accent, or you add in the way of life and how they act up there, the trap of playing these characters could almost come off like they're dumb, you know. You can, but they are smart, and they are just a different way of smart than maybe we're used to, you know. And that comes in a lot with Mike, the kind of more educated character that left Southie and came back, became a doctor, and you can see how would you describe Margie? Sly. You can see the cunning nature of one character over the book smarts of another character. It's very cool.
Yeah, and it's sort of like they refer to us Easter Shoremen as dumb like a fox. You know, it's that's the kind of dumb like a fox that you see in these characters, because they have every character has a distinct plan. They have something they are definitely going to get done in every one of these scenes, and they've managed to do it over the objections in some cases of the other characters, but they always get it done. And so a manipulation that goes on is really fun to watch, because you're looking at a bass, you're looking at a fishing line moving in the water.
Right.
You know, somebody is totally hooked and they don't know it, you know, until you give it a little tug. And that's particularly true with Mike and his wife, Katie. Katie is played by a young gal from Queen Anne's County High School, which is a really unique opportunity here. And yeah, that's Shelby Billups. And her, she's only 15 years old, and she's playing an older character, but it works beautifully, because just like you said, the way of going of these individual characters, they just plow off of one another in a really wonderful way. So you're going to see some newcomers to Churchill Theater stage, and you're going to see some veterans of Churchill Theater, but mostly new people, which is really good. And
that's good.
Really exciting. I'm so glad that that Caitlin is going to be you know, continuing to work with us throughout this whole rehearsal process until she feels we're good enough to stand on. Then
you'll bring her back for the next one.
There you go. Absolutely.
So this plays April 10th through the 26th, and Friday and Saturday evenings at 8 o'clock, and then Sundays at 2 o'clock. Right. And people, we have your contact information on the screen. But one thing I want to throw in there, people can join Churchill Theater, and do you do subscriptions?
Oh, absolutely.
Yes, you do a subscription.
Absolutely. So yeah, and just for a very small contribution, as an annual contribution, you become a member of the theater, and you certainly can get subscriptions, which are give you discounted tickets.
Right.
For this particular play, and I think for most of the plays in the upcoming season, opening night will be a 2-for-1. So on April 10th, you buy one ticket and you get another one for free. So
oh wow!
I really encourage everybody to come out and see that, because it's take advantage of that opportunity. And then you'll get a chance to go out and talk to your friends and, you know, kind of chew it around with the play a little bit.
Right.
I think you'll have a lot of fun. And you can make reservations online, of course, at the website. We'd also like to thank Centerville National Bank for sponsoring this show. I was totally gratified that
right.
You know, I don't always get a big sponsor for my shows, because I do shows sometimes that are a little more obscure and not as well brand name, not as well known. And this is exceptionally nice, and I really want to thank them. And I'm very, very proud, and I hope I do them proud in the process.
Wonderful. Well, I appreciate you coming in, and I know you'll be back for your next play when you're ready to roll with that one. And Caitlin, it was wonderful having you, and good luck to both of you.
Thank you.
And we'll see you at the theater.
Thanks a lot, Debbie.
Thank you very much.